standing in support of the Seattle Sounders here at Qwest Field. There is a lot of green surrounding the pitch here in the Pacific Northwest as we welcome you back to FSC's coverage of the 2010 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup Final. Qwest Field, there's Ziggy Schmidt as his team able to pull one back through that man, Sani Niasi, in the 38th minute of play. And the horns are sounding. See if those will still be going at the end of 45 minutes here in the second half. Michael Kennedy handed out 3 cards in the opening 45 minutes. Francis and Carroll for Columbus, James Riley for Seattle. The teams have switched ends in the second half, underway here. Mark Rogandino, Christopher Sullivan, Christian Miles down working the sideline, and the rest of the FSC crew as we get underway here in the Emerald City for the second half. One of these teams trying to win their second U.S. Open Cup trophy. And Seattle trying to do it as the first MLS team to go back-to-back in the competition. Columbus attacking from right to left across your screen in the black kits. Alonso coming in to slide tackle that one away from the feet of Emmanuel Ekpo. And on top of it, he keeps the possession going for Seattle. Montero.
First few minutes are so important to establish an attacking momentum.
Zakawani just outside the 18, cutting back onto his right foot, looking for Niasi, but just a step off from linking. Steven Lennart back for Burns. He was the goal scorer in the first half for the crew. Carroll away from pressure. Lennart first touch back for Burns. This is better to open the second half here from Columbus.
I think it's a great start for Columbus. They start establishing a rhythm through the lines, getting all the players a good touch early on, recovering some balls up top. At first from Alonso, he tried to play, it was cut out from Guichet in the midfield. He pulled off Lenhart, and they actually pushed Sturgis much higher than where he normally sits in the midfield. So that might be something Seattle's looking to do to get that first attacking rhythm in the game.
Ekpo slows up to use Frankie Haydick in a wide position. And now the 22-year-old Nigerian will bring it central. Burns is there to provide support. Using the width a little more here in the early minutes of the second half. Carroll, big switch all the way across here for Haydick. All sorts of space, he'll attack. Tyson Wall defending there, and the crew will line up their first corner of the match. And Christopher, these are strong points here for the crew when they can set up and bring those big bodies forward.
Without a doubt, it's twofold. It's the runs in the box, the understanding, but also the variation, the blended service from Guichet in that corner. He's very good at playing near post, then putting it in the middle, then he'll play back post, so he's very good at picking out that open spot.
Marshall, Leonard, and Iro, the 3 big targets, hovering around the penalty spot right now as the Sounders try and make sure they mark up. Schelotto will drive it in toward the near post. Pushed away. Ekpo will gather it in. Second chance opportunity now. Schelotto couldn't fire it in soon enough. And a good recovery here from Seattle as they'll look to counter.
Zakawani did fantastic, and the fans thought that Niasi was fouled there. He was smart just to snap that off his head.
Columbus did very well to get back defensively. Burns Schelotto from just off the shoulder there of Jeff Park. Wide now here for Francis. First time into the heart of the area. The diving header wide.
This is what Lenhart does well. This is why he's in this position in the top as the reference point. You see the quick layoff right here. First time, it's played in well from Francis. At this point, he's got to snap that back into the follow-through. I think it was Burns coming at that far post.
Christopher, we didn't call Steven Leonard's name too often there in the first half. Most of the play, as we showed you in our first halftime segment, around Schelotto, but he's a really big emphasis here tonight for Columbus.
He definitely was. You know, he's the one that took the pressure away where Guige can carve out underneath him.
The Argentine looking for a whistle there. Seattle will play through it, though.
The one thing that we've seen in the first 45, and it seems like it's true to form in the second, in these first few minutes, the first 5, is that both teams, they realize what type of game they're in, and their best suit has been attacking. Getting forward, they push, they put the other team under pressure, and it's made for a great game.
50 minutes and change so far, and every minute of it has been fantastic. As Seattle puts this, or excuse me, Columbus puts this one back in play. Ball out at midfield. Let's check in down on the sideline with Christian Miles.
All right, Christopher, Mark had a chance to catch up with Ziggy Schmidt. He told me he was very happy with his team's performance. In fact, Ziggy was very confident, said his side was the better team. It showed good response and character after going down a goal. On the other side of the coin for Robert Warzia, he was happy with how compact his side stayed, but he wants them to switch the point of attack much faster and get themselves into isolated one-on-one situations wide on the flanks. Mark?
Christian, before we let you go, I mean, how was the demeanor of the two coaches?
Well, Ziggy was very happy. He said he never doubted his character, but looking to Robert Warzia, very calm, cool, composed, but wants a little bit more attacking play, wants them to hold possession a little bit longer so they can get something going forward.
Good stuff. Christian Miles down on the sideline. Christopher, your reaction to the report?
Well, I think it makes sense from what we heard. You know, we noted in the first half that switch of direction was very favorable for Columbus. Look out here. And this is why Francis got the start over Padula. He got the speed of Massey to get forward. He's got good recovery speed. He can make up 5 to 10 yards in an instant.
Corner number 2 here for Seattle, their first of the second half. There is Robert Warzia over there on the bench for Columbus. Headed away on the backside there by the Crew defense. Seattle will rebuild here from midfield. James Riley lifting the chin and looking for some attacking support. Long diagonal ball is out of the reach of Montero and out for a throw. Going back to that matchup with Niasi and Francis, the left side defender for the Crew. Are you a bit surprised that they haven't tried Zakawani on the other side a bit more? Because certainly his speed against Haydick, you would think that's a matchup they like.
Well, we talked about that 15 minutes in the first half when Zakawani wasn't seeing the contact that he was in the first 5, so maybe you want to switch him. And we've seen Ziggy do that several times before, where he goes and finds the game. He did have some starting positions where he was more central and he was dangerous as well, connecting to Kufo and Montero.
Here is Francis, the young Jamaican, forward there for Eddie Gavin. Trying to display some skill on the ball and ends up losing it in the process. Riley in behind. Niasi has the inside step into the back post.
Yep.
Zakawani keeps it in play, gets around the first challenge from Haydick. The Crew captain continues to pressure on the heels. Wall lofting it into the backside. Green a ball off his line. And no trouble with the cross.
Well, one of the things I love about Zakawani, most players stay down when they get clipped. He had a great reaction, just a shovel away from Haydick. And he gets back up quickly, makes a nice feint to freeze, and then splits the defense. You see in the last 5 minutes that Seattle's recovering now at will, and in the middle of the park, it's more difficult for Columbus to retain the ball the way they were in the first 5 of this second half.
Good movement off the ball, frees up some space here for Riley. Bending it in towards Blaise Kufo. Right-footed chance, can't line it up. Still alive though here for Seattle. Back wide for the left back, Tyson Wall. Zakawani facing up against the Crew defense, firing it in and out for a corner here for the Sounders, their third.
They see the fans really get behind Kufo. He's now playing on instinct more. Those 5 goals have done a wonder for his confidence.
No question. Nearly 10 minutes gone here in the second half. Seattle lining up the corner, whipping it in toward the near post and right into the hands of Andy Greenebaum. And the guy that has played very well in the U.S. Open Cup. There you see 5 U.S. Open Cup goals. Nate Jaquia warming up on the sideline here for Seattle.
One of the things that you talked about earlier, not only we've seen a good game played with talent on the field, teams playing for both coaches the right way, but both benches are pretty stacked with some talent that can change the game and lift a game. You look at Mendoza, the fantastic Renteria, as we talked about the energy that he brings.
Robbie Rogers just back from injury for Columbus.
And then the 24-year-old Fernandez, Alvaro Fernandez for Seattle.
Yeah, the Uruguayan.
He's played in big clubs in Spain.
Jaquia, as we showed you a moment ago. Roger Levesque, who had the winner against DC United in this final a year ago.
I think for Robert Vazia, they started fantastic the first 5 minutes, but we're seeing a huge momentum shift in the last 5 minutes for Columbus. 5-6 minutes where, I mean, for Seattle, where they've picked up, they're starting to recover the ball, they're pushing Columbus back. So you look for someone in that side to change it and solve it and get back the rhythm.
Runs out of room, but he does earn the throw here for the Crew. The fans here at Qwest Field don't agree with Michael Kennedy's decision. And here's Eddie Gavin to put it back in play. Burns. Schelotto. Couldn't keep it cleanly right there at the top of the 18.
Well, I just think it was miscommunication. Lenhard didn't know if he should go after that himself or allow Schelotto to push through.
Here's the aforementioned Steven Lenhard checking to receive it. Couldn't keep it on his feet, though. Niasi can keep it on his feet as he wiggles his way through the midfield to find Blaise Kufo. Wall trying to send it in, pops loose. About 28, 29 yards out from the Columbus goal. Montero finds a touch now. Overlapping run here from Riley. Inside the 18, looking to the back post.
Yeah, this one, he got a great look, and you look at the fans bouncing behind. This no-look pass from Montero. Everyone knew he wanted to go to the right, but he just has that little bit of improvisation. Watch this right here. He turns, he looks over to his left just to freeze the defender and make him commit. And that's great football.
Love it.
What's even better is the appreciation from the fans. They just...
As you see there on the replay, it was deflected out by the Crew. So another corner here and a chance for Montero. I think he was the last to touch it for Seattle, but it's over the crossbar. You mentioned the fans a moment ago, Christopher. You saw them there at the Brom end of the stadium.
This one we see Grunenbaum again, where he's out kind of in nowhere's land. He's anticipating, because that could have been hit near post where it's open.
Alonso heading it into Montero. First time for Niasi. Riley Overlapping run to join in. Alonso to Riley. Montero not expecting the pass, but Seattle recovers to keep the possession.
Yeah, see the retention has come down from Columbus. Great ball.
Sakawani trying to turn inside the area. Green ball off his line. Good save in the area, and Haydick will clear. Burns looking for the outlet ball and finds it in Frankie Haydick.
Now this one's an important possession for Columbus. You saw that Barros-Esqueloto had to come all the way back inside his half to orchestrate this.
An hour gone here at Qwest Field in Seattle. The 2010 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup Final. And it is all up for grabs here between Seattle and Columbus.
And I think we were just talking about possible reserves and substitutes. Of the two, we saw Jake warming up, Mark, but it's got to be Robert Vargia if it continues this pace of pressure, an onslaught of pressure going forward from Seattle, and he's got to probably make the first move to change the dynamic.
As you get further and further into the second half, becomes a bit more of a chess match between the two coaches as to who will make the change and then who reacts to the other coach's change. I would imagine looking to Varzija's bench, Renteria probably has to be at the top of his list.
Well, the other thing, you have Mendoza, who has the quality. I mean, he's an exciting player, but he's carrying that injury. A little bit of a growing strain.
Haydick toward the penalty spot, headed away by Park. Burns. Montero will bring it down in front of Iro. Finally some space out wide now here for Seattle through Riley. Niasi matched up against Francis. Couldn't find the clean first touch. So Riley will try and exploit the space down the right side. Not a bad tackle there from Leonard.
Great tackle. He knew that Riley was off to the races there. He did well. That's a great second effort. And you see that Columbus is starting to show the moxie the last 2 or 3 minutes that they've given some resistance.
Kufo. Had the right idea there, Christopher. It's that overlapping run from Niasi that's creating some problems for the back line of the Crew. Columbus will reset here as they bring it back to the feet of Iro.
You see the frustration out of Francis and to the young Iro. Barros-Esqueloto as well, saying don't waste that when we're in possession. And make sure that you conserve the ball.
And the reason is because now Seattle comes back the other way. Tyson Wall will find some space into the feet of Osvaldo Alonso. Francis steps in to cut out the long switch. Eddie Gavin on the return ball from Schelotto. Gavin from long distance. Keller with the save.
Well, it's been a pretty quiet night for Gavin. He had that one look in the first half, but it's been an off night for Eddie Gavin. He's got a nice short exchange right here. Look at how he flows in between three. Barros-Esqueloto plays him through with a little bit of pause, and he's good from this distance. He tries to keep it low, gets a skip off the ground. No problem at all for Casey Keller.
Well, and aside from picking the ball out of the back of his own net, Casey Keller on Kevin Burns' goal in the 24th minute, that's really the first time we've seen him tested here tonight.
Well, those are the hard games. You know, good keepers against the rhythm of the game to make that one important save. He's done that.
Saw the graphic there a moment ago. Columbus one better in the shots category so far here tonight as we're into the 65th minute of play. Montero trying to bend that one over the top. Columbus hip to cut it out. Burns for Schelotto. Now Eddie Gavin. Iro bringing it forward and out of the reach. No Schelotto allowing Seattle to win it back.
I think what's interesting from our panorama up here, Mark, is how similar the teams play. Sometimes in possession, of course, the architect, Wajia, has been great as the assistant coach from Ziggy. Now the apprentice gets to play against the master, but these are both his teams that he's put together.
Really straight out of a Hollywood script in a sense that Wajia probably had to learn so much about his coaching style during his time as Ziggy's top assistant.
Oh, he was a great player in his own right, Robert, for club and country.
Niasi for Montero. Into the back post. Zakawani heading it up and over off the bar. Niasi number 2!
Well, there's a beautiful goal right here. You see the quick, short separation right there. We talked about reaction. Zakawani just pure reaction, getting in the right place. A little bit of a slip up from Hayden, not feeling the ghosting movement of Zakawani. And then again, Niasi. Look, he's got the presence of mind just to follow up reacting, just pounces for that second goal. And they've elevated the energy, the intensity, and the attacking outburst. The fans love it.
Second goal on the night for Sana Niasi. I mentioned he opened his goal when he tallied his first one in half number 1. He opened his goal scoring account a couple of days ago in a 3-2 win against Toronto. And now here in the final, just a few days later, a brace to put Seattle in front. Columbus now look for the response. As we hit the midway point of this second half, Eddie Gavin trying to loft one in toward the back post. Carroll. And Leonard couldn't find the first touch.
Talk about these moments, and I think the most difficult thing to do as a defender is when you feel someone behind you. Zakawani on that goal, where he said he just ghosted in behind Frankie Hayden, flat-footed, and normally he'd read that 9 out of 10 times. The one time he did it, he was punished, but definitely played a part into that goal.
Leonard onto his left foot, and that one will go wide of Casey Keller in the Seattle goal. Just to follow up the point, but then even after Zakawani heads that one off the bar, Niasi runs in as we get a look at that last chance, Niasi runs in all alone to finish his second goal of the night.
Yeah, we talked about speed being priceless. Speed, but also reaction speed, speed of thought. And that's what we've seen through the feet of Zakawani and Niasi. And for my liking, when we were talking about before, Robert Vagia again, maybe holding on a little bit too late to give that momentum to Seattle. The game needed a change. It needed a different element in there, just kind of to bring something to life for Columbus. We'll see if they make a change.
Marshall will shepherd this one back to his goalkeeper, Andy Greenebaum. Haydick accelerating toward the space. Ekpo on the overlap, not a bad ball at all, but Leonard late to react.
One of the things we saw in the first half was on this right side on the attacks and forays for Columbus, Casey Keller being very vocal and being marking tight and not allowing to slip through like Columbus did in those first two occasions in the first half. But the momentum, you can feel that it's shifted. Seattle starting to push. They're getting behind those quick movements out wide.
Crucial moments in the match right now for Columbus. Sturgis in for Niasi. Marshall just getting enough of a touch to push it away. Riley will challenge, and now Francis with the booming clearance. Montero runs out of room. It'll be a throw here for Columbus in the 72nd minute of play. Best environment, arguably one of the best here at Qwest Field. And they've picked it up a couple of notches, as has their club out on the field. 2 goals from Sananiasi has given Seattle a 2-1 advantage. Zakawani trying to bend one in for Blaise Kufo, who was right in the heart of the 6. And Seattle will set up for another corner. One of a couple of categories that the Sounders statistically are out in front. Neither coach has gone to their bench so far here, as we're now into the 73rd minute of play. And time will begin to become an ally of the home side. Sturgis to deliver the corner. Glancing header goes just wide. Seattle will set it up again one more time. Actually, Eddie Gavin coming in defensively to head that one.
Yeah, it's been Tyson Wall is the target, passing that near post.
Sturgis again, driven in toward the near post, and again it's Eddie Gavin to send it away. Is there an opportunity for the counter now here?
It's nice. He's playing through.
Ekpo tripped up just outside the center circle.
Yeah, he's going to card him here, but this is one of his signature movements, and it's a great little opening drag. He shows his body. It opens up his hips. Ekpo in the open field. He never really got off to the races in the past 20, 30 minutes.
And it looks like it's going to be Osvaldo Alonso.
Watch, he's going to freeze him right here. He's just going to open up. There's the drag. He's got 20 yards behind him.
So Alonso and Riley carrying yellows here for Seattle, while Brian Carroll and Sean Francis for Columbus. Niasi into the feet of Montero. First time for Zakawani. Has the inside step against Haydick. Marshall sliding over. Zakawani cut off as Greenbaum gathers it in.
Yeah, a little too much right there. You got to love the way that he burst out. A fantastic ball from Montero. Just a quick release under the body. He sets Zakawani one-on-one with Haydick. He's going to want that one back because he was right in the region. He was 6-8 yards out away where he could shoot from there and strike. He's very good with the left foot.
Francis trying to run this one down in the corner, and he does. Looking for numbers in the area. Late run from Stephen Leonard. Eddie Gavin running onto the back post, but the service never got there. Ekpo. Nice little move to get in onto his right foot, and then Niasse whistled for the foul. And another yellow comes out from Michael Kennedy.
I was seeing that Ekpo starting to take the game in his feet, in good positions. He's coming back, dropping off a little bit deeper, finding not only on the right, on the left, but this is a great pause. Watch him dip, low center of gravity right there, and he just slaloms in between the two. So good at inventing on the ball, keeping close control. That is exactly what Columbus needs. Now you have Barros Esquiloto with a good location. The 4 or 5 players at the top of the area with a pretty good space in between Casey Keller, about a good 10, 15 yards.
Into the final quarter of an hour here, and what do you like on this free kick? Is it close enough for Schelotto for a direct effort, or does he have to loft it into the back post?
No, he's looking for the run, but he might put a little bit more on it. And Marshall will be the target. You also have Iro, Leonard.
Zakawani and Niasse, the two-man wall, just out at the edge of the 18, driven into the back post. Defensive header there to push it over the bar. Columbus will have their second corner. I
thought he put a great ball in here. Unfortunately, the target that it comes to is Eddie Gavin. He's just behind Kufo. Iro was the next.
Hearing it from the crowd.
Yeah, they'll give it another go here, and then I think at that point they got to make a change. Columbus.
Second corner of the game here for the Crew. Schelotto directing traffic, fires it into the heart of the area. Leonard was closest to it. Ekpo looking for a second chance, trying to cut it back onto the right foot, drags it across. And a hard clearance ricochets into the gloves of Casey Keller.
I say that Alonso did quite well to hold his ground against Ekpo.
Two substitutes up between the benches, both wearing dark jerseys for Robert Vorzija.
Now these are the two we talked about. Mendoza was a fantastic player, and Renteria, who can bring the energy. Mendoza's technically extremely competent. He can combine with Barros Esquiloto. Lenhart did some good work up top, but didn't quite get on the same page. And then you got Burns as well, so aggressive move to have more of a playmaking movement out of the midfield.
Now the two players that combined for Columbus' lone goal here tonight. Kevin Burns finishing off on the ball, laid off by Stephen Leonard, and those two players go to the bench here. See how quickly the substitutions make a difference. Haydick, flag stays down, trying to deliver it across.
That was definitely taking that Mendoza. Watch this break here.
Zakawani leading the counter as the crowd rise to their feet here at Qwest Field. Montero asking for it, just outside the 18. Montero! And it hits his own man, Blaise Kufo, on the right-footed shot.
You couldn't ask for worse luck than that right there. Great little freezing feint from Montero. Zakawani did his part, penetrating on the left.
Renteria. Wins it back, but also here's the whistle. And a free kick for Seattle.
He's a train. I mean, he's the equivalent of Kufo on the other side. A little bit more compact, not quite as tall, but he's a handful. Now you get the adjustment. Alvaro Fernandez. And there's the applause for Niasse, who scored both goals. Ignited this second half with his speed and reaction and fearless, ruthless movement into the area. Great night.
Well, certainly Sananiasi, his name is on the short list for man of the match here tonight. His brace currently has Seattle about 11 minutes away from going back-to-back as champions here in the U.S. Open Cup. The Sounders looking to join Chicago, Los Angeles, and DC United as the only MLS teams to win this competition more than once.
And I think what you get with Fernandez, Mark, is that he can pass in on the counter. He can give you that delivery that you're looking for, that we saw a moment ago that Montero had given Zakawani. He doesn't have to run into the attack. He can pass 20, 30 yards with great precision and deceptive.
Mendoza.
All right, good luck, Rob.
Park coming in to win it for Seattle. Forward now for Montero. Fernandez back into the space. On the return pass from Fredy Montero. Columbus wins it back though. Zakawani can't find the touch to bring it down. Columbus quickly put it back in play, but before they can, it looks like it's going to be another change here for Vorziha as he will turn to Robbie Rogers.
Well, one of the best performers consistently for Columbus has been Eddie Gavin, but I think it was a difficult night. He was doing a lot of work for the team, but just didn't really come off the way he wanted it to. Now you get pure speed with Rogers, who's coming off an injury.
So Rogers will come in to replace Eddie Gavin. Zakawani in towards the feet of Montero.
You see what he wanted to do, to just slide that in between the legs.
Carroll. And now Francis. Kufo to leave it for Sturgis. Osvaldo Alonso. Little chip up and over the top here from Montero. Fernandez trying to get in behind Francis.
He did great. Francis did extremely well. The young player positions himself and reads the pass. Montero giving the fans a little sugar there. Looking for the surprise. Now, I thought that Robert Vazia would have made the change maybe 15 minutes sooner, and perhaps he waited because he's anticipated if it went into overtime. It was a long game, and he didn't want to use the
through to leave it for Kufo. Had the vision to slip it back out wide for Alvaro Fernandez. But the Columbus defense able to cut it out, and now a throw here for Seattle.
I like the changes on both sides, and you see the game's coming to life. It's opening up the field as well. And on top of that, you have the players in the game that see the game well. You know, in attack, make good decisions, can change a game.
Kufo trying to post up on Carroll. Miscommunication there as Columbus win it back in the form of a throw. Carroll just dumping it forward here for Mendoza. Schelotto
calls him up.
Big switch for Haydick. Now Ekpo. Mendoza combining there with Renteria, but it's Keller who has the final say.
I think this is interesting. Mark, because you got the two, you got the Peruvian Mendoza up top with Renteria, the Venezuelan, and now Barros Esquiloto sitting behind the two. So he's got the vision to operate, but play either of these two fast players through Ekpo deep in midfield. So this is a team that can score from here. Great ball.
Ekpo, the Nigerian, getting in behind Alonso. Ekpo still on the ball. Wide now for Haydick. Dumping it in toward the back post. Rogers and Mendoza there.
Good explosive breakout again through the feet of Ekpo. And when he charges the goal, it's hard to stop his momentum.
Haydick drives it to the back post. Off the bar from Rogers. Carroll for the follow-up chance, deflected out by Seattle. And the crowd applauds the defense of the Sounders. Kufo back the other way, but Columbus has numbers there.
And you see Iro cuts it out. What a strike there from Rogers in a build-up from Columbus.
Robbie Rogers inches away from pulling this game back level at 2-2. Marshall into the feet of Renteria, just away from a quality first touch though. Rogers with Fernandez chasing from behind.
Yep. And you see that speed, as we said, is priceless on one side for Seattle. Rogers, very similar, just floats off the deflection and gets a touch in there. He's just going to be clipped a little bit here late through Sturgis. The arms come through as well. Now watch this right here. Lifted it in from Barros Esquiloto. Haydick plays low. Look at that.
Woof. No question, Casey Keller was beat there. And Robbie Rogers sees the crossbar, send it right back out as quickly as it came in.
What a game.
87th minute of play. The Crew pressing for the equalizer here. Schelotto, little chip over the top, headed away by the Sounders. Kufo wins the battle of two big bodies as he gets it away from Renteria. Now Zakawani, full head of steam with his ears pinned back. And a foul, 30 yards out. He's going to go against Columbus, and it looks like Schelotto will pick up a yellow. He will.
Well, give credit to Zakawani for recognizing his position on the breakout. This is a great explosive acceleration. He's taking everyone through. A little touch around Barros Esquiloto, who hip checks him and holds through. Definitely a foul.
Yes.
He's impeding that movement. It looked like the pass could have gone through to Montero as well.
And there's your confirmation of the yellow against Guillermo Barros Schelotto here in the waning moments of this second half. Seattle, as you would imagine, just taking their time, much to the delight of the 31,000 plus here at Qwest Field.
You see that Freddie wants to strike this even from this distance, but keep an eye on Kufo. He's matched up with Iro, and that reaction that's been the theme in the second half. Who gets to that second ball?
Greenbaum will line up three in the wall just outside the areas you see at the center of your screen there. Montero into the gloves of Andy Greenbaum. No trouble with the save there. Inside of 2 minutes left in regulation. Forward for Rogers. Francis trying to switch it towards Ekpo. Zakawani winning it back for Seattle. Double team here. Zakawani gets around the first challenge and upended, but no whistle.
I think he was fouled. I think he was fouled. We know that Niasi has been one of the top players. Look at this.
Haydick in for Mendoza. Schelotto there as well. And they'll bring it wide here for Sean Francis. Cleared away by Fernandez. And a heavy touch from Andy Iro delights the crowd here as they can sense it is just moments away here for the Sounders. MLS Saturday on FSC coming your way this Saturday. Qwest USA and Toronto, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, live and in high definition. They just announced the attendance, 31,311, the largest crowd ever for a U.S. Open Cup final here at Qwest Field.
Well, it's definitely rocking, and this man, along with Ayase, we said that speed is priceless. He was just fantastic. I love the way that he played, the way that he attacked. He took players on, he slalom. Now Ziggy puts in another attacking Carlos and Levesque to sustain that energy and push Columbus back on their heels.
Rogers pokes it away. Is there one left in the cards here for Columbus? 3 minutes minimum added time indicated by the fourth official here. Kufo. Columbus pushing. Mendoza. Hayden.
Look out.
All sorts of space out wide. Back in central here for Carroll. Rogers didn't put enough on it for Schelotto. And back the other way comes the Sounders. Mishit by Francis and out into the Columbus bench.
And you can see that Robert Fazia having a dialogue. He's talking to Robbie Rogers, but he said, play that way into the area. He limited his options.
Fernandez has Kufo. Levesque running into the back post. It'll come loose here for Fredy Montero. No whistle as the Crew win it back. Rogers.
Well, you see, it is the second time as well. Montero has slipped it through the legs. He's coming out. He's kind of doing what he wants. And the frustration's coming out of Columbus. And then some.
Seattle can take their time setting up the free kick as we are into the 3rd minute of added time. As Fernandez gets ready for the throw here, that will allow Siggy Schmidt to go to his bench one more time as Nate Jaqua will replace Fredy Montero, and listen to the crowd applauding the young Colombian.
You'll see that Siggy Schmidt is maximizing the clock by making substitutions. And the player fighting the most for Columbus, you see the whole Columbus team, but you know he doesn't like to lose. Para Esquiloto.
Sturgis will pull the trigger, and it goes well wide of the Crew goal. Michael Bennett, our referee, looks at his watch as Greenbaum puts it back in play.
There's an incredible energy from Seattle, the way they pushed in the second half.
Jaqua with the clearance. Kufo.
Smart.
Ekpo defending is Blaise Kufo. Just trying.
And you're starting to see good decision on the ball in the midfield. Iani with a monumental win, challenge in the air against Renteria.
And another minute of stoppage time has ran off here. Listen to the fans here at Qwest Field. The 97th edition of the U.S. Open Cup. And Michael Bennett's whistle brings it to a close. Seattle Sounders, can you say back-to-back Open Cup champions? They do it to the 2-1 win.
Well, it was an awesome performance for Ziggy Schmidt in Seattle in front of their fans. It wasn't easy. You got to give credit to Columbus. Playing at 30-plus thousand. They came with a good plan, executed, gave the resistance, scored the first goal. But just too much energy, too much quality tonight for Ziggy Schmidt and his players. The team was a star. Niasi was great. Sakawani was great. But they came through and saw it through to the last minute. Fantastic performance tonight.
Let the celebration begin here in the Emerald City of Seattle, Washington, as the Sounders have become the first MLS club to win this competition back-to-back, and they keep their unbeaten streak against the Columbus Crew intact now in 5 matches. Seattle has won 3 and drawn 2. We tilted this one with a number of storylines talking about Master Ziggy Schmidt versus apprentice Robert Vorzija. And once again, it is that man, the Master, getting the final say. Seattle, 2-1 winners here at Qwest Field. We'll step aside for a timeout, come back and get you some post-game sound, and of course, hand out the trophy. Hats off to Seattle, your 2010 Open Cup winners.
Nobody really likes to travel that much for work.
5-hour plane travel followed by maybe a hotel room.
What things were you going to have to get done at home, with your family?
Followed by getting to the actual meeting.
And there's, of course, the time lost while you're gone.
Put meetings in their place with GoToMeeting. With one click, GoToMeeting lets you hold online meetings from anywhere. Everyone in your meeting can give presentations and sales demos, edit documents, and collaborate in real time, whether on a PC or a Mac. Hold unlimited online meetings with integrated phone and VoIP conferencing for just $49 a month.
You could see somebody's idea of moving something on the screen somewhere else, and yeah, that looks way better.
It's less complicated than probably most of the activities you already do on your computer.
I saved a day's worth of travel, probably $1,000 worth of expenses. With GoToMeeting, I actually made money.
It's not only the time savings, it's what's possible now.
It's one of those tools we can't live without.
Try GoToMeeting free today. Visit GoToMeeting.com and use the promo code E10.
What's your 2:30 feeling like?
Sometimes my whole day is a 2:30 feeling. Get home from one job, start my second job, and I'm running on empty. So I turned to 5-Hour Energy. I was a little nervous at first, but my husband kept talking about how great 5-Hour Energy was. 0 sugar, only 4 calories. So I finally tried it. For once, he was right.
Told you so.
For both my jobs, I count on 5-Hour Energy.
5-Hour Energy. Hours of energy now. No 2:30 feeling later.
Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
FoxSoccerShop.com is the only site you need for all your soccer gear. From scarves to cleats to jerseys, you can dress like a superstar. Fox Soccer Shop is the place where you'll find all the official merchandise your team wears. Log on to FoxSoccerShop.com and dress like a pro. College soccer is back in session on FSC. Watch top schools square off on their journey to the 2010 College Cup.
This one is in the net!
The NSCAA College Games of the Week.
Mark your calendars for the doubleheader coming up this weekend. USA Poland gets you going on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time from Chicago. And then we send you out to the Home Depot Center where it is Qwest USA playing host to Toronto FC. The second half of the doubleheader, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, live and in high definition, only on Fox Soccer Channel. Back here at Qwest Field, 2010 U.S. Open Cup champions Seattle Sounders doing it back-to-back. Speaking of back-to-back, 2 goals in the match from Sana Niasi, who's downstairs with Christian Miles.
Thank you, Mark. Very happy. Sana Niasi is the second time as sweet as the first time, Sana.
Great feeling to help my team win the trophy, retain the trophy. Because we won it last year, we make sure that we keep it. It's ours, We play some good soccer, play as a unit. Attacking-wise, defensive-wise, so it really helps us.
You guys go down a goal. What does it say about the character of Seattle?
Yeah, we went down a goal, but still we keep our heads up, make sure that we do the right things, that will help us win the game.
Take us through that first goal in the first half, the equalizer here. How did it play out for you guys?
It was a great goal. I played the ball to Freddy Montero. He laid it back to Zakwan. It should have been Zakwanis, but he was so unlucky. The ball hit the bar, and then I was there to finish.
And the second goal, a little bit opportunistic, but it was a case of the right place at the right time?
Yeah, it was the case of being at the right place at the right time, making sure that I have the composure and bang it in.
All right, Sana, enjoy the moment. Go celebrate with your teammates. Christopher, Mark, let's send it back upstairs to you.
A goal coming in the first half for Niasi in the 38th minute of play. And then in the 66th minute, he would hit the follow-up chance off the crossbar. Zakawani denied, but Niasi finishes it to make it 2-1, and that would turn out to be the game winner. Let's join Qwest Field public address announcer Michael Tro to present the trophy.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to distribute the awards for this evening's 2010 Lamar Hunt US Open Cup Final. Please direct your attention to midfield where Executive Vice President Mike Edwards, Lamar Hunt US Open Cup co-chair Todd Durbin of Major League Soccer will be awarding the medals. First receiving guests for officiating in this evening's championship game are referee Michael Kennedy, assistant referee Tom Supple, assistant referee Paul Scott, and fourth official Ricardo Salazar. Now approaching the stage to receive the medals for finishing as finalists at the 2010 Lamar Hunt US Open Cup Final, please join in congratulating Columbus Crew. Lead Yard Captain Frankie Hayduck and head coach Robert Vazia. Let's give a big round of applause and congratulations to 2010 Lamar Hunt US Open Cup finalist Columbus Crew.
So the Crew step up and meet Executive Vice President Mike Edwards and Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup co-chair Todd Durbin to receive their medals. And Christopher, never easy to come out on the losing end of a cup final, but certainly have to tip your hat to Columbus and the way they performed here tonight in front of a very energetic crowd at Qwest Field.
Well, I felt that they were in the game for a good portion of the game.
No
the
doubt.
Second half, they started that first 5 minutes outstanding. It looked like they had figured it out after the break. But then you got the response from Seattle. And like we talked about, I would have liked to seen some of those changes maybe 15 minutes earlier, because you needed to change the dynamic. There was a little risk there. Robert Varzia, to his credit, they played a pretty good match. I mean, in Seattle, 30+ thousand fans. Last time they played in Columbus, they lost 4-0. Tonight they came to play, and you can see on the face of Barros Esquiloto, he does not like to lose, but he stood up for the team, as did many other players from Columbus. They should be proud.
And now the Crew will turn their attention to the Eastern Conference, where they currently, for the first time in a long time this year, sit behind New York in the standings. There you see Gino Padula did not see action tonight. Talking there with Barros Esquiloto. There's a number of players joining in to gather in their medals. And you see Brian Bliss coming in to your picture there, receiving his medal now. And for Columbus, you have to wonder what Robert Varzia is thinking, in a sense that he has not been able to get one past Ziggy Schmidt in Seattle now in 5 matches. Is there something in the matchup that you see as we look at Bobby Varzia down on the field? Is there something in the matchup between Columbus and Seattle, the reason why Seattle has been able to be so successful and not lose against Columbus?
Well, I mean, there were times in the match that you and I were looking at each other, and Ziggy Schmidt is watching both his teams that he architected. So he has an understanding of the nuance, the intricacies of his players. But he doesn't know totally what's in the fight and the heart of his players. And I think we saw that as well tonight. It made it a difficult match.
Let's send you back down to Qwest Field. Public address announcer Michael Tro to present the trophy.
And now, approaching the stage to receive their Champions medals, please join in congratulating Seattle Sounders Football Club. Led by Captain Casey Keller and head coach Ziggy Schmidt.
Back-to-back U.S. Open Cup champions, the Seattle Sounders, by a score of 2-1 a year ago, getting past DC United. And this year, the same scoreline, just a different opponent, as they're able to get past the Columbus Crew. That man, Sananiasi, who just received his medal just a moment ago. 2 goals on the night. Christopher, Seattle no doubt had the advantage in possession, if you probably had a possession meter on this one, and deservedly so that they're the winners here tonight.
They were in control tonight in front of their fans, and I think they managed the game well for an up-tempo game against a very difficult opponent. And again, throughout this organization, so important for the Seattle brand and for their fans and for this franchise to get the second title 2 years in a row. And they're on the cusp of making the playoffs again. They're playing good football at home. And I think that that's really important. You got to give credit to Adrian Howard, the owners, Joe Roth, Drew Carey, and then Chris Henderson. I mean, when you look at Ziggy Schmidt, the technical director, he's done well bringing in some of these talented players. Those guys are all synchronized. They're on the same page, and it really is a fabulous organization and a good playing team.
There you see Pete Vahanis stepping up. Did not see action as he is out with injury. He was on the losing end against Columbus in 2002 when he played for Los Angeles. He'll be on the winning end, though, last year as well as this year, picking up his second U.S. Open Cup championship medal. And Ziggy Schmidt will add a 3rd U.S. Open Cup winner title to his already extensive resume. 3-time NCAA champion Pat Noonan stepping up to receive it. John Kennedy Hurtado. And then there finally, certainly the man of the hour. This is, as you were just talking about, the ownership group here for Seattle. I mean, this is, look at the stadium. This is the ticket here in the Emerald City. With all due respect to the Seahawks, who haven't done much in the NFL, there is no more Supersonics anymore. The Mariners have struggled in baseball. It's all about the green. And there's Drew Carey right there. And the man you mentioned, Chris Henderson, a former teammate of yours, picking up the medal, all smiles down there on the pitch. Enjoying the moment would be the simplest way to put it.
Well, they've made some tough decisions as well. You know, Freddie Lundberg going to Chicago. They brought in some young DPs or future DPs. Montero they want to keep. So, I mean, I think they're visionaries as far as how they want to build this organization top to bottom.
So they all make their way up onto the podium and just awaiting for one of the players to put their hand on the trophy. I would imagine it's going to be Casey Keller or maybe even Drew Carey as part of that ownership group to raise the trophy.
And the other thing, Mark, is there it is.
Your 2010 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup champions, the Seattle Sounders in electricity yellow, and very indicative of the feelings here at Qwest Field tonight. One more time, let's join public address announcer Michael Trow.
And finally, for the crowning achievement, U.S. Soccer Executive Vice President Mike Edwards will award the 2010 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup Championship Trophy to Sounders FC and their captain, Casey Keller.
The Seattle Sounders raise the trophy for a second straight year, but this time they get to do it in front of their home fans on their home turf here at Qwest Field. And the celebration has begun here in the Pacific Northwest. Fantastic job by Ziggy Schmidt and Seattle. A 2-1 win over Columbus here tonight.
Well, I think that the U.S. Open Cup competition has just been taken to another level, Mark. Having been played here in Seattle, and it's probably going to be similar in the years to come, where we'll see it at these type of venues. Outstanding, fabulous. You got to credit Seattle, Ziggy Schmidt, the whole organization. A great night of football.
Well, if you missed any of it, through the beauty of television, we take you back to the first half highlights. And we pick it up with Columbus on the attack here in the first half.
Well, you see the sublime passing to Barros Esquiloto, and there, the sequence of movement, passing, Haydu plays into Lenhart, and then Kevin Burns trails at the top of the area. Just impeccable timing right here, and a great finish. Just a slot away from Casey Keller in that far post. That set the tone.
So in the 24th minute, Columbus went in front, but 14 minutes later, Niasi equalizes here for Seattle.
Well, really the theme, we talked about the speed between Zakawani and Niasi, but this was reaction speed, speed of thought, and the ability to put away an opportunity when the keeper was out of position, slots it at the near post, and that really was a tidal wave of emotion and explosion in the stadium. And then they really never looked back. Montero plays over here. Zakawani goes in beside Frankie Haydu, who's caught flat-footed, and again, Niasi pounces with a huge goal.
Niasi, his second of the night, and this one comes in the 66th minute of play. And if you see it, it all started with the ball from Niasi there to Montero. Montero to the backside, off the bar from Zakawani, and Niasi banging it into the back of the net. A quick glance at your final statistics in this one. Shots on goal, 5-1 in favor of Seattle, 6-2 also in favor of the home side on the corners. And our referee, Michael Bennett, hands out 3 cards to both sides over the course of 90 minutes plus stoppage time. But the one that matters, upper left-hand portion of the graphic there, 2-1 is the final score line for Seattle Sounders FC to win their second straight U.S. Open Cup. One common theme, their coach, Ziggy Schmidt. He's downstairs with Christian Miles.
Thank you, Mark, the mastermind of 3 U.S. Open Cups. How proud of you are you of these guys?
I'm extremely proud of our team. You know, we talked about being able to win tonight and making ourselves special, being the first MLS team to repeat, being the first one in a long time to repeat. And, you know, the guys really took it to heart. And even though we went down 1-0, we showed a lot of character.
Back in the last stages of the moments, they hit the woodwork. Was it nervous for you at the end?
It's always nervous, but they're a good team, and so they're going to get chances. And I've got a saying, you always got to dodge a few bullets to win a game. If you're playing a good team, they're going to get some opportunities. You're not going to shut them down completely. But You know, luck was a little bit on our side. We were a little fortunate there, but also we worked very hard and we deserved it.
These home supporters, you get 31,000 plus tonight. What can you say about them?
Our fans are the best. They're fantastic. There's no better fans in this league. You know, they stayed here to the end. They stayed here for the trophy celebration, and you know, they'll be able to tell all their kids and grandkids one day, hey, I was there the day the Sounders won the second.
Your team, you mentioned them coming back from a goal down, but when I asked you at halftime, you said you weren't surprised. Does this kind of response typical of Seattle?
It was the same thing we did last week when we played Toronto in the league. We've really got a really good confidence level in ourselves. You know, it's something that's developed over the last probably the last couple of months of the season, and this team believes they're going to win every time they step on the field, home or away.
Going against Columbus, did that have any special significance for you?
It does, you know, because obviously I know so many of those players and the coaching staff. You know, we're all good friends, and they're a good team. You know, they're a good team, so I knew it was going to be a tough game. You know, so winning is the most significant. Sometimes I wish it wasn't them, because you know, my heart, the other team I want to see win is them if it's not us. But today I needed to see us win.
All right, Ziggy, congratulations on becoming the first MLS team to win back-to-back U.S. Open Cups. Mark, let's send it back to you.
Back up here in our Fox Soccer Channel broadcast booth, we put a wrap on this one. Christopher Sullivan, some final thoughts on the back-to-back effort here from the Seattle Sounders.
Well, I like the closing interview with Ziggy Schmidt. Always classy, a gentleman, and there is a place in his heart with what he's done with Columbus. He loves the fans, he loves the players, the coaching staff, and tonight was a celebration of good football. Two teams that came out that played the right way. They played to win. Until the last minute, you saw Boris Esquilota fighting for the shirt of Columbus, running out of bounds, diving, sliding, and we saw a very good, animated, energetic Seattle that played great football for their fans. Outstanding.
Outstanding, and what a way to cap another campaign of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. In the process, a preliminary round berth in the cards for Seattle for the CONCACAF Champions League next year once again. That is going to do it for our broadcast here tonight on Fox Soccer Channel. For our director, David Bolton, producer, Carlos Suarez, for Christopher Sullivan and Christian Miles, my name is Mark Rogandino. Back-to-back champions for the Seattle Sounders, 2009 and 2010. They are your winners. 2-1 is the final.
Fox Soccer Channel, the Big Ten Network, Speed, Fuel TV, FSN, and Fox Sports, the greatest collection of sports networks in the world.